Hi, gorgeous Scorpio family, and welcome to our August 2021 reading. I'm so excited for this month. I'm so excited for the alchemical process that is going on in August. So in August, it's an interesting month. All the outer planets will be retrograde because Uranus in your opposing sign will be going retrograde. Let me check my notes on the 19th. And contrary to popular belief around retrogrades, when outer planets are retrograde, for me, this happens for these outer planets 5 to 6 months out of the year, basically, or 4 to 6 months out of the year. And their effects are subtler, but they help us understand ourselves better. They help us incorporate, they help us ingest all that information and step fully into who we are becoming. So this is a very empowering month. And of course, for Scorpios, this is a really interesting time of year because Leo season is the height of summer, right? It's another fixed sign. It emphasizes your 10th house of who you are in the world. But I also think that Leo season in August, as it moves into Virgo season, there's this transitory energy that comes up in August where you can start to taste the next season of life while you're living the fullness of this season. And this intermingling of energies has us kind of collapsing time and getting really honest with where we're wanting to grow and explore. And for Scorpios, I think this month is full of support for you in this area. Planets are going to start moving through Leo, Virgo, and Libra this month. For example, Mercury is moving through Virgo most of the month and then moves on to Libra at the end of the month. Venus moves into Libra in the middle of the month. So we're starting to really emphasize here for Scorps 10th, 11th, 12th house energy, all this build-up energy before your season, right? Which is so weird to think about sitting here as I'm working on these August readings to start thinking about Scorpio season already. But isn't that interesting how time is always intermingling with these different places? So my point being here, that this is a time of the road's going to get really clear in August for you all. Signs and signals are going to be simple and clear. That was the first message that came. I'm getting so many goosebumps right now. The other thing that came to me is, and this is just a really important message that wanted to come through. It's really important you are surrounded by people who love you unconditionally. Love you for who you are. Of course, we all have our things that we are learning and improving on, right? We always have to take responsibility for ourselves, right? But it is important that we have people around us who love us for who we are, love us for our sensitivity, love us for our desire to look and dig deep, love us for our tendency to, look for the little signs and signals. I'm talking like I'm a Scorpio. I am an 8th house sun, though, an 8th house Mercury, and an 8th house Mars. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit. But it's important. That message just came through really strongly this month. It is so important that whoever you have around you just loves who you are, loves your ability to see underneath the surface, loves your sometimes need to maybe retract and recharge regularly, right? Those kinds of things. It's just for some reason that message is coming up. And I think with Uranus going retrograde in your opposing sign of Taurus, this is a time of review and incorporation and clarity around relationships. And we're talking about all types of relationships here. Friendships are sometimes the most important relationships of our lives, especially as we get deeper into adulthood. Our peers and the people we have around us can really help us or detract from our lives. So for some reason, that message is just coming through. So there is this really strong emphasis on fixed sign energy here at the beginning of August. We have a new moon in Leo and then a full moon in Aquarius right at the end of Leo season as we move into Virgo season. And like I said, all the outer planets are retrograde. All the close planets, though, personal planets, are direct. So there is a clarity in this month. There is kind of a calm that descends, and that's the reason why I'm saying that this is not a month of doubting, not knowing. It's kind of a month of like understanding where you need to point your sails, where you need to adjust the course, and that can be in positive ways too. It doesn't always have to be about cutting people out or doing dramatic things, but where you want to make those adjustments, because there's this calm energetically, this clear, precise quiet that says, what's going on? Seven of Cups. As I say, clear and quiet, Seven of Cups comes into the mix. It helps us understand. And the Tower. Oh, this Tower. The Tower to me is Uranian energy. Uranian energy is all about the rebellion. It's all about the innovation. And so the Tower has been showing up regularly in readings for a little while. The Hermit. Because the work that it's doing in Taurus is really important. It's looking at our foundations and getting really honest, right? And the Hierophant. Wow. And you know what I always say about the Tower? It really matters its context in a reading. It changes the game every time. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this energy here. To me, Seven of Cups, this is water sign energy to a T. Whenever I see this card, yes, maybe you're getting lost and confused in dreamland, but for me, what I see here is one of the messages that came up for me when I was sitting with Scorpio energy this month is, what would you do with your time right now if you had to write it down in 10 seconds? Right? Like, if I like to play that mind game sometimes with myself, where I just like wipe the slate clean and I say, okay, let's say I could do whatever I wanted with an average week in my life. So what would it be? Like, there would be no, I wouldn't have to worry about housing or food or people in my life. All of that would be taken care of. What would I do? And to me, that's Seven of Cups energy. It's letting ourselves go to that field of vision, that field of energy, and actually hear it out. What is right for it? What cups are we picking up? And with the Tower here, what I'm seeing is that sometimes there are cups that are seductive to pick up, right? They call to us because they're interesting and they're intriguing and they're not quite available. Or, maybe like we think we need to form into that thing. And we reach for those cups over and over again and wonder why we feel a little numb to our lives, wonder why we feel a little bit like frustrated. So for me, what I'm seeing here as well with these cards is breaking of patterns, right? And I always say this because I think so often we think of really dramatic things, right? With Seven of Cups and Tower, like so often I think with the use of tarot and all this stuff, we automatically go to catastrophic changes. But for me, like for an example, like in my life, a cup that I keep picking up, and I'll admit this, is Married at First Sight. Did I have mentioned this last month? I might have here. But it's this cup that I keep picking up, takes like over an hour of my evening or whatever. And I so don't, see relationship or love in the way that show sees it. It stresses me out because there's all these conventions and these things that are like supposed to, these people are supposed to force themselves into, and yet I keep picking up that cup and then wondering why I feel kind of blah afterwards, right? That is subtly kind of poisoning my well in a way, right? And it's not a big deal. I think it's important to sometimes, pick up that slightly poisonous cup and just like take a sip just to get clear, right? Oh yeah, that's how that feels. I remember. Very useful information. I like it. I think that's important. I really, really do. But after you've written down that thing that you would do, if you had 10 seconds to answer it, Notice which cups you're picking up that are blocking you from that. Notice which, phone call you keep picking up that just is not serving you. Notice which routine or impulse you keep picking up, and like you feel less, right? So this is a great month to do some house cleaning around that, because the Tower is also about liberation. It's also about freedom from imprisoning things, imprisoning ideas and imprisoning routines. And so while we often think about this as destruction, what I see this as a really great signpost for where we're wanting to put our energy in greater effect. Now here's the thing. Maybe there's a little bit of a stormy Leo season where you're getting really clear on what you want to have around you. But you also have a really deep anchoring going on as well. And what I would say, the moon cycles are going to be really activating for you a harmony and a balance between the external person you bring out into the world, which is going to be that Leo new moon, and the internal world, your secret world, which is going to be really emphasized by that Aquarian full moon. My computer was doing something weird over here. So that Aquarian full moon. So that you want to have that harmony and balance. There's this also with the Hermit and the Hierophant. These are deep empowerers. These are grounding elements. But this is what's so interesting about both the Hermit and the Hierophant. Okay, yes, they're connected to Earth energy, which is very grounded, which is kind of looking into the subterranean. But both of these are extremely spiritual beings. One is the spiritual ascetic who is out in the woods looking for the truth, and one is the spiritual teacher who's in the institution looking for the truth, but they're both channeling energy. And they're each doing it in different ways. One in solitude, one in the wilds, one looking into the wilds of the self and looking for the truth deep within the self, and one looking to share that truth. So this is what I would say about this. The internal to the external dialogue. What's going on there? Are you holding back, telling somebody what you prefer, telling somebody what you need in a relationship, in a situation? Are you holding yourself back, trying to do that Scorpio chameleon thing where you can be funny and you can be charming and you can push down your needs because you're very good at adjusting and adapting to the environments you are in? You're very good at suppressing that part of yourself that is highly sensitive, that does get overwhelmed because culturally it doesn't fit. Especially if you live in the US, it does not fit with the narrative of who we're supposed to be. The Hierophant, the Hermit into the Hierophant is telling me it is very important that you share how you're feeling on the inside with those you love. And that in sharing that, you are liberating yourself and you are clearing the way for you to move forward. I always say you can't selectively block your energy, and it's not something I just came up with. Many teachers have spoken of this, but I've experimented with it plenty in my life, where I will be blocking myself in one little corner of my world thinking that it's not affecting all these other aspects. And only when I've said my truth, when I've told that. I remember once I had this ex. He was an amazing partner, like a really kind, loving person, but he got involved with a spiritual sect, actually. He was very much hermit-like in his seeking for the truth. And it was, I'm not going to name names, I'm not calling people out, I'm not here to trash talk anybody. It was a cult. And I held back from breaking that off because I didn't want to give up on the beauty of this person that I believed in and trusted. And, I held myself back. It took me a whole year. I would go and visit him. I would see what was going on. It would feel really off to me. My gut center was just ringing alarms. And by the end of that year, something that I had known this whole time was that I need to go on my own path. I love you. You're amazing. I don't agree with, some of the things going on here, but that's not my choice to make for you. I have to go live my life. And when that happened, I remember, I'm not kidding, within hours, within days, suddenly, I was having a hard time finding remunerative work at that point because I was in my mid-20s. I was getting phone calls for job offers. I was getting phone calls to go on dates with really interesting people. I mean, it was like, and I didn't do anything. I wasn't like putting more stuff out there. It just, things started working in my life. And I'm not necessarily saying you have to break up with somebody. It can be anything. That's just one example of somewhere where I was holding myself back for so long and then wondering why all these other parts of my life were stuck and stagnant. And when I just let myself be who I was, I needed to go. I needed to keep exploring myself. The rest of my life started to support me. It felt like God and divine came back to me because I was no longer stopping that divine force from showing me where I wanted to grow. And you all already have that. I mean, that's the thing. Scorpio is like the most powerful sign in that deep inner knowing and that deep knowing of self and knowing of purpose. And even not purpose, just knowing of that intuitive gut feeling. You know, you got it, you guys. You are so gifted in that area. And it is kind of a blessing and a curse because I think it's scary to constantly know the truth, right? Like, it's a little terrifying sometimes to know where we want to shift, where we want to address, where we want to dig. But you're having a full invitation here of support in anything that needs to be shifted or adjusted, or anywhere where you feel your voice you've been holding it back, you've been swallowing it down. There is a way to share it and acknowledge it from a place of compassion and love. And you don't need to be destroying anything. You don't have to be aggressive in just owning what it is you want to say. So I have a toast because I think this August is genuinely gorgeous. I think it's an important turning point in the year. And energetically, this has just been my intuitive knowing for many months. September is a very important transitional month, and August is kind of this final moment before some huge transitions happen for all of us. It's a really beautiful place to take a look around. And here is the toast I have for you. May ideas come to mind with ease. May peace be present and holding you at all times. May you feel it inside, outside, and all around you, moving through you, holding you on your path. May you be surrounded by love and innovation. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, you guys. May your relationships blossom and give you the love and support you deserve. I think it's because I really do believe you all deserve that peace and that joy and that expression and that support. I really do. I really do believe that. And I think it's so important to take care of the Scorpios of the world because you all are important aspects of healing and growth for all of us. So cheers to you guys. I would love to see you here. So please subscribe and hang out. We're going to keep doing amazing things here. And I'm just so grateful for you all. I'm so grateful. I'd also love to see you on Patreon, where I kind of open up a little bit more about my personal journeys and some of the things I've experienced. It's a really great community, so I'd love to see you there. I'm sending you all my love, and you'll find all my links in the description box, and I'll see you very soon, my loves.